Hello, my name is Nadja Tao, and I've been doing a series of conversation starter questions. Today's question is from eslconversationtopics.com, and it is it acceptable to use social media to publicly shame someone for their behavior? I think that generally speaking, it is not good to speak ill of others. Speaking ill of others on the internet can be even worse because it might be permanently public. The internet is a place where people who are upset about their lives can go and try to spread around that anger so that the misery in the world is more evenly distributed. But it's many other things too. It's a place where people can make money with headlines that trigger your sense of outrage. It's a place where people who have no outlet in real life can potentially be heard and validated, and that can be a good thing. But when you mix all these things with a gossip's critical and judgmental attitude towards others, I think you can very easily slip into public shaming behavior that I would consider bad. Um, but if you've been really seriously harmed by someone, I don't think it's wrong to warn others or try to get the organization to do better next time. But I do think there should be a creative mindset versus a destructive one to avoid being overall net harmful versus overall net positive. Um, Leaving a critical post will always have potential to hurt someone's feelings, but it might be an overall positive thing if the person improves as a result of it, or it might be a positive thing if somebody who was going to use those services and their bad services avoids it, or if somebody who avoids buying a defective product, something like that. I think you really have to make sure that your accusation is accurate and truthful to avoid getting sued for defamation. I think you should avoid posting a shaming tweet or shaming video or something like that when you're feeling an intense anger. I think you want to be in a neutral place emotionally, because anger can lead you to say or do things you might regret later. You don't want to post something shaming impulsively. Maybe you can use private messaging to get the situation off your chest right away, but you can create a draft that you go over and review a couple of times for the post. I think that one of the biggest problems with writing a shaming social media post is that it's tempting to attack the core of a person as bad, which is an ad hominem attack. And I'll dig a little bit into ad hominems in a minute, but I wanted to say that I asked Google Gemini what it thinks about reviewers calling a memoir author a bad person, because that's been on my mind, because I just finished reading Elizabeth Gilbert's new memoir, All the Way to the River. And she's the lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And I was just shocked at first that so many people had such aggressive shaming tactics in their reviews. And then I was like, why am I so surprised by this? People do this all the time on Goodreads. Actually, I really dislike the top reviews on pretty much any book on Goodreads because they're usually unhinged smear campaigns. Now, in person, I've always come to regret befriending. I don't know why I can't talk in this video. I've always come to regret befriending that girl who's always talking about how so and so did this really bad thing. I've always regretted befriending that person. But I feel as though Goodreads has taken something that would make you less popular and have less stable relationships in real life, and it just slaps that on the landing page of every book that you add to your reading list. I like to use Goodreads to just keep track of the books I've read. Anyway, Gemini drew a pretty hard line about how labeling people as bad is unhelpful, reduces the complexity of the human experience, is dehumanizing, and discourages honest and vulnerable writing because the author is trying to avoid vitriol. And that latter point makes me think that a lot of the criticism I see for memoirists like David Sedaris and Elizabeth Gilbert uh, springs from emotional immaturity. Emotionally immature people can't really handle vulnerability. They avoid being vulnerable, and they avoid being emotionally honest, and they think it's shameful and embarrassing and something other people should also want to cover up. And I think something to remember when you're thinking of posting something that shames someone else is that shaming is very off-putting behavior to a lot of people. And when you point a finger at somebody, other people will scrutinize you very carefully, and you might not come out on top of that dogfight. Shaming in personal relationships is red flag behavior. It's a sign that the person is possibly emotionally manipulative. Again, I grabbed that from Google Gemini. I knew that shaming was red flag behavior, but I'd kind of forgotten why people say that. So, if you're thinking of shaming someone on the internet, be careful. Maybe an I statement would be better for you. Like, he did this, and because of it, I felt that. So you're at least taking responsibility for your feelings. And going back to ad hominem attacks, an ad hominem attack is when you address someone's argument by attacking their personal attributes instead of staying focused on the actual argument. And again, Google Gemini says some examples of those personal attributes would be the abusive ad hominem which would be name calling or insults. Circumstantial ad hominems, which would be using the person's jobs or their wealth or their self-interest as a reason for why they think the way they do. The U2 ad hominem, which points out hypocrisy. So, like, one smoker telling another to stop smoking. It would be an ad hominem to say that, well, I shouldn't stop smoking because you smoke. Another type of ad hominem would be the guilt by association ad hominem. So associating that person with an unfavorable group or idea. So saying, yeah, of course that person would say that because they're communist. That's a guilt by association ad hominem. And you want to avoid an ad hominem attack if you're going to make a post shaming someone, because it's a logical fallacy. So those are some of my thoughts on the topic, and I would like to hear from you. If you have any comments about anything I've said in this video, or if you have an answer yourself that you would like to share about the question, is it acceptable to use social media to publicly shame someone for their behavior? Please leave all that in the comments section. Please like or dislike. Please subscribe. And I hope to see you in another video. Goodbye.